good.
Why so little?
Because they take for fucking ever, man.
Oh. At first I thought maybe it said rolls, but 3 pieces.
No, 3 pieces. 3 full pieces. All right, let's see here. Videos. Where are we at? Posts. Cool. We got 10 rolling in here. Let's see what kind of bodies we got in this place. Let me know. What's up, Larry Adams? What's up, JP? Donita? We've got JP in, Dogs to the Moon. Let me know if this is coming through without freezing or if it's
I think he meant to say Doge to the Moon.
I think he did mean to say
Yeah,
Doge.
but Dogs is fine.
Dogs to the Moon. If Elon funds a dog to the moon
space,
with Doge, Doge is going to the moon.
Doge and Dogs. Dogs and Doge to the moon.
153. All right, we're cruising. Tim Flores.
What's up, Tim?
You know what? Tim is never on this on Tuesdays. You know what brought him in? You. Cigars and Guns.
Oh, yeah, you're probably right.
That's all it takes. Couple of knuckleheads.
Yeah,
What up, Mega
thanks,
Bang?
Mega Bang. Audio is great. Adrian is a stutter. Not this motherfucker.
Sean Rad's
Come on,
tossing
man.
shit, man.
He must have started drinking already.
Yeah,
Look
I
at
think
this.
so. Who is this motherfucker? So I'll just go ahead and say it. Put your kids to bed because this one might.
Yeah.
We don't know where this one's going to go. We just have a bottle of 1792 on the table with us.
Yeah, it's out of the screen for sure. I don't know if it's on here.
Oh, it's off my screen.
Okay, it might be on mine.
1 minute. You let me know when we want to cruise.
Yeah, let's go ahead and hit it. Give us some time to.
We give us some time to build up.
Yeah.
And then how are you looking over there? It's going to take you probably like 15 seconds to push live. What's up, Cigars and Guns? What's happening? Bam, bam. Larry Adams got his wife back. Tax season.
Oh yeah. Well, Texas still has another month, but
Because it was
the majority
cold for a couple days.
Yeah.
What do we got? We got 8 seconds. You ready?
I'm ready.
Oh, it's red here, so it's live over here. So that means 3,
Yeah.
2, 1.
I don't know. What's up, guys? Hey, welcome.
What's happening?
Cigars 101 here, Industrial Cigar Company in Frisco, Texas. I want to welcome my user base. This is a show that I've been watching with these guys here. Typically, Brandon and Dave, Pops, they call them, typically do the show, but I thought, hey, I asked you all for feedback, and the feedback came back that you want to learn more about cigars, and so here we are. Every Tuesday night around 7:30-ish this time.
Yeah, strong-ish.
We'll be here, and Brandon and all the guys here at Industrial really are experts in the realm of cigars and other things, but please ask any questions. Let us know what you think, and we'll try to answer some of your questions tonight.
Yep, exactly. And welcome in everyone, Cigars and Guns. Welcome in ICC family. Guillermo, to you as well, Guillermo. This is, usually Pops is sitting right here with us, but we get together. We're going to start changing things up a little bit where Adrian is a solid part of everything we do from the beginning. Hello to you over there. And this will just be a time for us to get together and talk cigars. So leave it wide open. Any questions you have, fire them. Tonight we'll use as the backbone just some of the basics.
Yeah.
And get into a little bit of kind of story time.
Yeah.
Because
I love that.
The first thing that reminded me of the ultimate basic cigar bit of knowledge to never forget is never forget when you sit down that you need to have a fueled up lighter by the time you're ready to smoke a cigar. Nothing screws it up worse than not being able to smoke a cigar.
Luckily, here at the lounge, everyone's going to have a lighter and or cutter with them, so
stay strapped.
Yeah.
Is what we're trying to say. Adrian, what are you smoking tonight?
The Atabey, and is this a Divino?
This is a Brewhouse.
Brewhouse, okay. Anything from Atabey, guys, is really, really good. And there's Chris trying to taunt us. Good old Pennington.
Pennington, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. What do we got? We got Donald hooting in. Happy birthday to my brothers. What's up, down cigars? Please bring them in. First and foremost, when you sit down, make sure your torch has
that. Make sure you cut your fucking. Wow.
So, thank you, Mark Rogers.
So
at Mark Rogers 88.
wow. I mean, I just barely started drinking, and here I'm lighting my cigar, and I haven't even cut it yet. So,
Okay, so
wow.
look, it's off to a rough start. We
Wow.
started at Cigars 101 with no fuel in our lighter and no cutting a cigar.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah, that is exactly it. What do we got? Smashing leg. I can't read that. My eyes are going to shit, man.
So that's my nephew Austin. Smashing leg day right now. So he's in the Bluetooth. Austin, have a good workout, man.
Yeah, rip it out. You're not going to get any smarter from what's about to happen.
Jay Shibby, how are you?
Of course.
Smoking barrels. I keep multiple lighters in the car. Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah, you figured it out. Now, my question, I want to toss over to you for a change.
Yeah.
What do you prefer to light with? Are you a torch guy? Do you like soft flame? Do you like cedar? Do you like matches? Do you like Bics? Where do you sit?
Yeah, definitely torch. This is one of my favorites. It's honestly one of the cheapest lighters that I own. It's got just a little single flame when it works. Yeah. And it's good for touch-ups, and it's good for lighting, and it's really slim, fits in the pocket real easy. If I'm feeling fancy, yeah, I'll do the cedar thing. That's pretty cool. Matches, I haven't been able to find matches. That's kind of a different thing.
It really
Yeah.
is. I think, well, it's basically you have cedar that you can also strike.
Yeah,
Right? I mean,
yeah.
that's the ultimate deal. And the question is, how should you light your cigar? The answer is, however the hell you want to light your cigar.
Yeah.
If it's a Bic, the easiest way to offend a cigar smoker
Yeah.
is light it with a Bic. But here's the thing. Show me any other cigar lighter that TSA will let you fly with.
That's true.
Now that everything is starting to open back up,
Yeah.
and I think, I don't know what Bic runs on, but it's an infinite renewable energy. Have you ever
Yeah.
ran a Bic out of fuel?
No, I don't have Bics.
Oh,
But,
all right.
I mean-
well, just me that smokes crack. You don't smoke crack?
But I guess, fresh from the TPE, did you all take Bics with you?
Yes.
Just because of that? That makes sense.
We actually I have these plastic, they're little flip top. It's kind of like this torch. It's a little flip top.
The Bic fits in there?
But everything in the whole lighter, it's a regular torch, but it's plastic.
Okay.
Except for the firing mechanism. So when it goes through, it doesn't look like a lighter. And I've flown to Nicaragua with it. I've flown all over the place with it.
And that's fine.
Never messes with me. Never messes with me.
That's good.
And they're cheap. You can get them. We're going to start actually bringing them in. And they're going to cost $10, $12, something in that ballpark.
That's a good idea for sure.
But they're great little torches.
Yeah, no, love it.
Yeah. Did someone say Crack JP? That's me. I was talking about Crack JJ fam. What's up? What's up, Marty? What's happening, everybody?
Pardon my, not paying attention, but we have little, what we call confidence monitors that we can see your questions and or comments.
Yep.
So,
And down here, which lighter is that? So there are a couple of different lighters we were talking about, but one of which it actually doesn't, as far as I know, it's not like a Zycar or a VSOL or anything like that. It's just this one manufacturer that makes this one style of lighter. It's called like Bazinga or something.
Oh, wow.
It's a stupid name. I can't remember exactly what it is.
I do have I don't know if it's the same thing that you're talking about, but it's like an insert, and an actual Bic fits inside it, and it shoots a torch flame.
And it turns it into a torch. I know
Yeah.
what you're talking about. Yeah,
And I have that. I don't hardly use it, but that's definitely something I guess I would travel with. And maybe separate it, right? Because I don't know if I kept it together. I've had multiple torch lighters taken from me at the airport.
It's a pain in the ass. And
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you're traveling, now that everything is starting to resume, when you travel, you can as per TSA, you can travel with a soft flame. So even if it's a pipe lighter or a cigar lighter, as long as it doesn't emit a torch, you're okay. And I actually witnessed that with Nathan. We just got back from the trade show.
Yeah.
And he went with his soft flame that's kind of got this side roller ball, really cool look. And they pulled it from him. And he said, no. This is TSA approved. It's a soft flame. It comes out. And so here's the key. You can just say it's made by Bic. Because he went, no, this is like a Bic. And they went, oh, it's a Bic? And he went, yeah,
yes.
It's a Bic. It's Bic. This is a Bic cigar lighter. And they went, okay, here you go. They're in back.
That's nuts. It doesn't look like, I know what lighter you're talking about. It doesn't look like a soft flame. It looks like it's going to be a torch. It's a nice lighter.
So that's a little travel tip for you, is just tell Bic lighters. Yeah. Megan buyers didn't know Bic lighters were offensive. I don't know. Maybe I'm pushing it with the offensive.
Well, okay, so I've heard, and maybe this is a tall tale or whatever, but I've heard that, and maybe from other cigar aficionados, that the whatever butane or accelerant in the Bic lighters is subpar, or maybe just, and it may affect the cigar smoke.
That would make sense. I don't
know. Is that true?
You know what? Well, I've heard the same thing, but I've also heard that that's full of shit because it all cooks off anyways. There might be a little bit that sticks around, but ultimately, if you do it right, you're toasting it, so you're not actually bringing it in. So as you do light that cigar, if your cigar is, now when we say toast it, for those of you who are watching, when you lit, but what you want to do is you want to take that flame underneath it and just lightly touch the bottom of the entire cigar until it's all warm. If it's all warm, by the time you bring that up and you fire it up, you only need one puff, a quick little puff, and it's ignited.
True.
So you shouldn't, in theory, be bringing it in. However, the fact that it's a little bit, it's not going to be high quality fuel they use in it.
Right.
So, to each their own, but I've heard the same thing, but also heard, it's going to cook off.
I mean, if that's all you have, that's all you have. But yeah, it could be also a mystique thing, right? I mean, Bic lighters are typically people who smoke cigarettes and that type of thing. So
we've got a solid question, and for everyone who's watching, please feel free to throw questions out there. It says, is Cigar Oasis still good for humidity control? And I can't read the bottom, but
is it good for humidity, or should I just go with boveda?
That is a very solid question to kick off.
Usually, a Cigar Oasis you use for like a big,
larger units,
right?
Yeah, it really isn't necessarily the same thing, because if you are going to use Cigar Oasis, you're talking humidors that are of 250 quantity or larger.
Yeah,
they're great. They're easy. There's some maintenance as you work through it, but as long as there's distilled water and it has the actual thermostat in there that's gauging it.
Don't you have one in this?
Yeah. And actually, I've got one at the house. Nate uses one in his cabinet as well. Cigar Oasis is phenomenal, but for just humidors.
Yeah, if you have, and that's dead X image, if you have a large cabinet that, as Brandon said, 250 upwards of more, so trying to maintain, go with the Cigar Oasis. Otherwise, you'll be having to buy a shit ton of bovedas, and
it's a pain in the ass. And that can get quite expensive, where the boveda packs are inexpensive for use in your humidors, and they couldn't be easier to use. As you start getting larger, that amount of packs you need to buy continuously substantially increases. And you can go from, for instance, my humidor, I've had the same 2 small packs in there since September. That's $10 total since September.
That's pretty good.
Where if you need to buy 6 of those large packs, you're talking $100 to really
easy.
fill it.
Yeah, solid question. Thank you.
Yeah, really solid question. Anyone who's watching, Josh, what's happening? Brian Burnett, what's happening? Give this a share if you're on Facebook. For anyone who does, maybe they're just thinking about getting into cigars.
Yeah.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah, going back to the humidity portion of it, cigars need to maintain a particular humidity. What would you say, 69 through 72?
Yeah.
For good humidity.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
70% humidity, 70 degrees Fahrenheit is absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
for normal stuff.
And I don't know if you have these, but I think Boveda has them too, where there's like little, it's like a little monitor that you can put inside
The Butler.
I have a Govee, which is like a cheap Amazon version of that. It has an app, which is pretty cool, and it's just a little Bluetooth little thing that you throw inside your humidor, and you go into the app, and then it tells you what the humidity and the temperature is. And I don't know, maybe they're $10-15. I have a few. Obviously, I have a bunch of humidors, but yeah, and you can name each humidor and ensure that the humidity maintains itself.
And that's really a solid point. Sean Ratz, actually over to you, to what you were saying with the humidification. Sean Ratz has a 400 count Winador, and he just has one boveda pack, 320 gram, the big one, and it works great. So
is that the one that comes in the little, like a
kind of perforated?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think I have one of those too. I have the same one Adore.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Really, really works great. What were you were just saying just a second ago, that welcome to my memory, but you were talking about, the Govies.
Yeah.
The one reason why I don't mess around with that too much is because it's easy to geek out for me.
Yeah.
Oh, it's at 70. No, it's at 68. No, I got to work it.
Yeah.
So, you know what's interesting, and one thing that I've learned as of relatively recently, is cigars are really quite resilient. And I've actually started getting into this testing element where I'll take 3-4 cigars and I'll set them outside, or I'll keep them outside the humidor, and then I'll smoke one at 5 days. I'll smoke one at a week. I'll smoke one at 2 weeks. I'm trying to figure out when cigars legitimately start getting bad.
Like a tolerance.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and you would be surprised how long you could leave a car, just pick it up and smoke it. Now, it's not perfect.
Okay, but it's smokable.
It's resilient.
Okay.
So chasing your humidity levels, whether they're 2% up, 2% down, it doesn't really matter.
No, it doesn't. Now I will tell you, and I don't say I would say like I geek out necessarily with it, but one of my humidors did get up to like 74, and this was after I think I took some time off and did a road trip with my wife, and I came back and it was at 74. And it was obviously, maybe it was higher than that, because I got the cigars out and they were spongy.
Oh.
And I was like, wow. And that was my, the acrylic one. And typically I keep all my Adabays and Byrons in there. So I was like, oh, look. So I took everything out. I took all the Bovedas out. I think I left the top off for the day, just to kind of let them, dry out and maybe acclimate a little bit. And then I threw in one Boveda, and then within like a day or two, it was back to like 70. And so I just had to kind of mess with that, but other than that, everything else kind of maintains at 70, and I don't have to check it that often.
I'm looking down here. Speaking of checking, it looks like there's a lot of shit talking happening here on the ICC side. Sean Ratz is coming in hot today, throwing you and throwing Frank under the bus. Rocky Webb is in.
I thought we were Rover buddies. Come on.
Yeah, what the? I'm not hopping in this club if this is how I get treated. No, this is, for those who are watching on Cigars and Guns, much love. We're coming in from Industrial Cigar Company in Frisco, Texas. If you have questions about cigars, this is really for you. There are no dumb questions. Honestly, fire them out and we'll be happy to answer them.
On that note, yes, welcome to Cigars and Guns followers. Head over, if you're on Facebook, to Cigar Newbies. It's a Facebook page that the guys in Industrial Cigar put together, and it's exactly that. It's Cigar Newbies. It's a safe place to go and ask questions. There's cigar aficionados that are on there that know a shit ton about cigars, and then there's folks that are just new into the cigar game. No dumb question is ever asked. We just ask that everyone is respectful and
You're exactly right. I mean, if you're a dickhead, you're going to get the boot.
Yeah.
There's no tolerance for a place where people want to learn, they want to enjoy something. No one's better than anyone else, and that's very true in cigar newing. For those who are posting cigar selfies is what we call them, which is just basically they take a photo and they snap it. What I'd love to see is the creation, because it gives you as a newbie an understanding where guys take time to say, here's what I experienced. I liked it. I didn't like it. I love that.
Yeah, and then you'll get some tasting notes. Everyone has a different palate. And someone who smokes, probably not the cigar, but that's pick, any other random cigar, typically you get notes of, pepper, leather, and, maybe cocoa or chocolate, that type of thing. But some people's palates are just super refined, and they'll come out with some like jelly bean and what's some other odd.
You know what? For some of now I've read some of the blogs, and they're creating content, and they're just struggling because I've heard people talk about lemon ciabatta poppy seed bread.
I mean, that sounds good as bread, but from your cigar,
I'm not gonna smoke it.
No, I mean that's weird.
It's weird. You know what it is?
I don't know.
It's bullshit.
Probably.
Most of the people who are saying, look, let's just be for real. Most of the people that are saying all of these flavors and how it tastes really can't taste that. Right? The majority of cigar smokers, so for those of you who have smoked cigars for a long time, if you can't pick up the minutia of the details of the flavor, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
You just smoke. If you enjoy smoking cigars, keep smoking it. Now, there are certain telltale things that will let you know whether the cigar is ready to smoke or not, i.e. bitterness. If you get a cigar that is really bitter and it tastes sour, or there is this unrelenting flavor that is just not good, it's not, doesn't feel done, probably isn't.
The biggest thing for me, and this is something that I learned when I first started coming here, and your dad taught me this, and that was the ammonia. And that's, explain a little bit about that. It's not fermented appropriately.
You're exactly right. So what happens is tobacco undergoes a fermentation process, very, very much like wine does. And the process for tobacco and cigars are very parallel, very similar to wine. And when they take the leaves off, they'll go and break them off, and they'll take them to a curing barn. Leave it upside down, usually about 45 days. That'll start to brown it up. We'll get some of the green off of there.
Yeah.
There's an actual name for that process. But after that, they take it into a room that they cover big tarps and large pallets called pilones, and they cover those and start cooking them. Naturally, when when the tobacco leaves are covered, they start to cook themselves. A chemical change occurs called fermentation. Mm-hmm. And what is happening is it's all of those pores are opening up. It's releasing the carcinogens like ammonia particularly. That starts opening itself up. Now, that process will take anywhere from 12 months to 3 years, depending on the girth of the tobacco, what type of tobacco that is. The difference between large manufacturers that you see everywhere, plus the gas stations, and what you'll see in a tobacconist similar to industrial cigar company, is the time. Like a great pit master, a pit master lets the meat tell him or her when it's done.
Yeah.
Great farmers and processors of tobacco, fermenters, let the tobacco tell them when it's done. The other guys just go, oh, it's been on there, and this has been on there for 9 months, turn it, get it out. What that does to you at the end is you get a cigar we call it not ready or sick, but it's going to taste that way. It's going to be heavy. It's going to be heavy on your palate without being a heavy cigar.
Is there any way to fix that? It's a made cigar. Whether you store it for a year or
a ton of time.
Really?
Yeah, a ton of time. Like for instance, the Buteras that we've had in the humidor.
Yeah.
Those, when they came out, were most certainly undercooked cigars. They were dog shit cigars. But those sat in there for 11, or they sat in for 11, 12, 13 years post-roll. Everything marries together. Mm-hmm. And even after it's rolled, they call it micro-fermentation, where all of the tobacco marries together. All of the excess ammonia goes out the foot, and those tobaccos come together. That's when the blend starts doing what it needs to do.
Gotcha.
90 days after roll for some, but some it takes years. But is there any way to really cure that? It's just time. It's just time. Now, other manufacturers like Perdomo, they take it post roll. They know it's undercooked, and then they take it to an additional humidor, and this humidor sits about 85% humidity, about 85 degrees Fahrenheit, and they cook it after it's rolled.
Is that like a forced cook?
That's the best way to put it.
I have one that so when we started coming here, Kathleen, that was her go-to, and I don't know if you remember.
I remember distinctly for her birthday, I believe.
Yeah, his brother Andrew, I think we were buying one, and at the register, he snapped it in half. He's like, "I'm not going to let you buy this," and he snapped it. And I still have it at home.
You still have the broken?
Yeah. And I was like, "All right, Kathleen, what do you want to smoke now that your cigar is cut in half, basically, and broken?"
Yeah.
But yeah, she's now smoking these, which, you know, it was fine before because what she used to smoke, maybe like a $5-6 cigar, and now she's on Atabase, so
$30 cigars.
Yeah. So
yeah, that's the problem with cigars is you can get there quick. You can that progression from I don't know where everyone is at who is watching. I see Jace McGill's in, Damon is in. These are real solid cigar smokers. You can see that progression from someone who smoked cigars, I smoke cigars, to then getting into it.
Yeah.
And getting into it.
Yeah.
Where I think the biggest thing with many wives, but particularly with Kathleen, is she got in the culture.
Yeah.
And that seems to be the most.
It changes the whole aspect of cigar smoking. Again, and I've mentioned this story before where, you know, I've been to other lounges before industrial was a thing, and I didn't know just the culture of the people and the service that you get from your family, and, you know, that's what a cigar lounge is. So, guys, if you ever get a chance, come down to Frisco, Texas. Thank you. And, you know, hit up Industrial Cigar. Please let me know if you're coming down here. I'll meet you. We'll hang out, and you'll see what a real cigar lounge should be.
Wow, thank you for saying that.
Of course.
It really is. I agree with you. And the reason why I agree with you is because I know what happens behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And that's, when we went to the show this last week, we brought everybody out there. And for those who are just watching who don't know who we are, Industrial, we're a family-owned business. There are 6 of us owners, and there are 6 of us who are a part of what we do. Predominantly running the day-to-day is my 2 younger brothers. It's their 30th birthday today.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Andrew, Nathan. My father, Dave, and myself. My wife and my mom they're the real bosses, but they just basically tell us what to do. But when we were in Vegas, I got to see the conversations we were having. So many people stayed at home, but we went because it gave us an opportunity to have undivided attention with the guys people want to have undivided attention with.
Of course.
And we can talk about growth. We can talk about something new programs, new cigars, let's just run with it.
Yeah.
And it's, Damon's coming in here saying there's definitely different levels of into cigars. Mm-hmm. I've gone up and down those levels a few times.
Yeah, I think we all have.
Yeah. Damon, where are you at right now with how are you into cigars?
Let me go back and DeadX Image ask another question, which is a great question because we get this a lot. He has one cigar that has bloom on it. He can't really tell if it's mold.
Oh, okay. So this is great.
Yeah.
This is a good question. So if you open up your humidor and you see that there's some sort of dust on your cigars, that's going to be one of 2 things. Mold, which you need to get rid of that quick, or plume. Now, plume is a crystallization of sugars and of the things that are in the oils inside of the tobacco. The easiest way to see if it's plume or if it's mold is if it's on the exterior, if it's on the wrapper, good sign. And if you can brush it off lightly, it's plume. If it's in the foot of the cigar and has penetrated into the foot, no plume will be found in the foot, and under light you'll see that it's green or it has a blue tint to it, and you won't be able to just knock it off. Easiest way to do it. Have you had a cigar that's all plumed up?
Yeah.
Smoked one?
Oh, it's great.
What was that like for you?
It was great. Yeah, it's just it's a sign of age in my mind. It's a sign of age that, you know, a cigar has been carefully maintained in either my humidor or someone else's humidor, and I mean, I've enjoyed many cigars with plume on them.
It's like putting brown sugar on it.
Yeah.
It just sweetens it up.
Yeah.
It's a great sign. If it is plumed up, if you ever go into a humidor and see any cigar that has this white dust on it, on the tobacco leaf itself, and you can lightly dust it off, just close that box and buy the box.
Yeah. I love seeing that, and I love seeing yellow cello.
Talk to me about that.
That's like a I don't know how to explain it, but the sometimes cigars are wrapped in cellophane, and when you can unwrap it and you'll see the cellophane, if it's yellow, or I smoked a Crux Guild the other day, like old school Guild, and that wrapper was as dark as our whiskey. Yeah, that dark, and I put it in the ashtray, and then I think Mark Rogers made a comment saying, "You're going old school," and I said, "Yeah, look at that wrapper." And he's like, "Holy shit, that's brown." That excites me. It's really, because it's going to be a good cigar, nicely aged, and it's perfect.
And you can see that as well, and that's something that I've been speaking about. If you see that the cellophane is dirty from the inside, buy the cigar, regardless of what it is, because we talked about the ammonia and all the bitterness. It's gone.
It's just going to be gone, yeah.
Because those oils seep into a very porous cellophane.
Yep.
If it's dirty on the outside, it's dirty on the outside. But if you can see that yellow twinge to it, it's going to be smooth. It's going to be tasty. There's going to be no pepper, no aggression. It's just going to be where the cigar is meant to be.
Yeah, yeah. And if you're inside, especially indoors, enjoy it. Take in that moment and just really enjoy and relax that cigar. We've got another question from Kathleen, and we kind of touched on it earlier. What's the best way to light a cigar, and does it make a difference?
I'm going to let you run with that.
There's many different ways, and we like I said, we touched on it earlier when we first started. We talked about the Bic lighters, which if that's all you have, I mean, that's fine. If you have a torch, even better. It's a cleaner, light, and you could, really toast the foot on the cigar. Again, you toast the cigar first, get it, a little bit warm, and then bring it up, puff on it, and then light it at the same time. That's probably the best way. There's matches, of course. The cigar matches are probably the best thing. It's going to be, I don't know, maybe about four inches. It's a wood match. You light that thing, and then you can toast it and light it all at the same time. And then there's the method of the cedar. Some cigars you'll see that come with a cedar. Your dad's done this before, and he kind of turned me on to that. The cigar will come wrapped in cedar. You get that cedar, and then you just kind of push it towards the end. Light the cedar, and it's pretty flammable, so it's going to light up pretty good. And then you can light the cigar that way. And I did that once after your dad showed me. That was like the best thing ever.
It's really cool. Yeah. And I think it does make a difference when you do light with cedar.
Yeah, cedar itself, and it's a wonderful smell. I mean, if you have cedar-lined closets or just the moment that you open up your wooden humidor with the cedar-lined, that smells just like opulent. It's lovely.
Absolutely. And when you do have that, so that will be wrapped all the way down the foot. When you light it, you're going to have to almost like trombone it out. Yeah. Otherwise, you're going to light the whole son of a bitch on fire.
That's right.
It's going to be rough. So you pull it down as the flame runs up.
Or if you have cedar splints, you can buy those, and then you just light the splint. It's like a little piece of cedar. You can light that, and then light your cigar that way. That's another good way.
It's really solid. If you haven't lit with cedar, you definitely should. Key to it is make sure when you do light it, when you light that cedar, you just want it to hold it at about a 45 degree up so that flame runs up. As soon as you do this, that flame, it just doesn't run sideways.
No, make sure you have an ashtray next to you, because that, like I said, it's super flammable and it'll light up. You got to drop that thing in the ashtray right away.
Be prepared.
Yeah.
Damon is coming in. I asked what how into cigars he is. He says he's about a 3 out of 5. He knows what he likes. He knows what's worth trying, what fits. Will keep in stock on hand. And of course his membership gets used. He's been a member since day one.
Nice.
But he's not out searching for rare, limited edition. And he's not going all in on a cult brand. That's actually a very good point, because there are a lot of cult brands and those who are whiskey followers. And I'm curious from a firearm standpoint how many cult brands there are of firearms. But I think you're exactly right. You can get into chasing things and hoarding these things, but just remember, cigars are made to be smoked.
Yeah, guns are meant to be shot. And and trained with, and used as a tool. There's a cult following for sure, and there's brand, we'll call them brand whores, and we're all brand whores for something, whether it be cars, clothes, watches, cigars, whiskeys, you name it, tequilas. But yeah, I mean, there's the Glock fanboys, and then there's the anti-Glock folks. They just, I hate Glocks and I'll never fire whatever.
What's the main quarrel against that? Is it just because it's too mainstream?
I've never. I mean, I've had not in-depth conversations, but I've had, if I post a picture of a Glock, and then there's always got to be someone like, oh, it's a Glock, and then I'll try to get into the, what's wrong with it? I mean, it's a great weapon. You drop that thing in the mud, whatever, it still fires, and it's just a good all-around platform. You could, and the things that I love about Glocks, and I love many brands. I'm not specific to Glock, but there's so many aftermarket parts for that thing that you could, turn your mediocre Glock into what they call Gucci Glocks, which is great. There's so much support for those guys, and I love it. So there's Sig guys, the HK guys, and it's just a matter of brand.
It is somewhat similar to the gurkha versus anti-gurkha. I do agree with you on one side.
I've never had a good gurkha though.
Well, and I know what the production is like.
Well,
where Glocks
if you
fire, right?
Yeah.
But I just want to say this: Glock you can dump in mud. There is no cigar that I know of that you could dump that in mud, pick it up, and it's going to work.
True. So speaking of gurkha, then I would compare a gurkha cigar to a high point. And high points are just like super cheap guns, cheap in price. And I guess in price, if you're, before the whole run on guns was happening in ammo, you can get a high point for less than $300.
Really?
$250, brand new. Yeah. So, and it's
the
like
Yugo of guns?
Pretty much.
No shit.
Yeah, I've never fired one, but maybe I'm talking out of my ass, but I just know that it's not, the best gun out there.
Michael Anderson is coming in. When you age the cigars in the bourbon barrel, I'm thinking whiskey straws, Frankie Blue Eye Secretariat, some of the stuff we've done previously. Is there a time frame they should be smoked by, or can they be kept in for a little while without losing that age?
That's a good question.
Yeah. The short answer to that is there is a finite amount of time that barrel aging is going to stay in your cigar. And it depends on which whiskey that we're using. For instance, the Jack Daniels, it lasted a good couple of weeks, right? And it was really, really strong. And then just naturally diminished. Whereas we did have the Secretariat with the Woodford barrel. We had that in for a longer period of time. It wasn't as, it spent more time, but it wasn't as, the peak wasn't as strong. So I think the valley won't be as noticeable. It just deepens the cigar and keeps it there. Okay. So I would say smoke them within a month. Yeah. But
you'll definitely get that whiskey note early on. Mark Rogers just smoked one of his Secretariats, and he said it's very subtle. Now.
Yeah, it's subtle, but it's richer. It deepens it up a bit.
Yeah.
We've got Evan Hurst in from Hannibal, Missouri. Welcome in. Welcome to the ICC family. Thanks, Larry, for bringing him in. For those who are just joining in, looks like we're getting a little bit of traction here on Facebook on industrial side. Give this a share. Let's bump it up. This is Adrian.
Yeah, Cigars and Guns. Welcome, guys. I'll be joining the Cigars 101 here every Tuesday, just to give my channel this type of outlet and or a place to ask questions.
And feel free, ask them up if you've got it. This is Evan, glad to have you in. And if you have questions, feel free to toss them in. Welcome to the family.
Yeah, one of my buddies, Christian, if he's still on. What's up, Christian? He is a GM. I was like, give me a discount, maybe I'll buy it. But
barrel age them for you.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
So you can let them fly in there since we don't have anything actively in there.
Interesting.
We do have some new barrels coming in.
Sweet.
Down here we've got a question from Jim Trader. We have Jim Trader sending love. Can't wait to have you in here again. Yeah. What round are you on? I want to know. How often should you change the boveda packs? How often are you changing your
I'll change them out
packs?
when they start to get a little bit stiff. And I guess that depends. And I don't know the timing on that necessarily, but whenever they start getting stiff, I'll change them out. You've heard of guys recharging them. I have recharged some of mine. Mm-hmm. What's your thought on that?
I just say no.
You just throw it out and get no one?
Just throw it out. It's $4.
Okay.
Because anything that you're going to recharge with is going to bring in all you need is one mold spore. Okay. And if you have one mold spore that hops onto that pack as it's recharging,
yeah,
and then it goes into your humidor, you have this petri dish
that's a good
with all of this organic material that is going to hop into, and you could ruin potentially thousands of dollars of cigars to save sense. 4. And the beauty with the packs, Jim, just to let you know, as far as the packs go, they're long enough that we don't even have a time frame. I mean, I've had mine since September, 2 packs, and they just keep running.
Yeah. I have some that I think I've had, I don't know why they keep so long, but I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and the reason why is because they're two-way humidity control. So just imagine your car as you're going down the highway, if it's possible. Once it gets to speed, it can just drop you into neutral and save that gas mileage. And then when you need to speed up, then it can hit you into drive. That's what the boveda packs are doing. They release humidity until you get to 72. If you have a good humidity, then it just hits neutral and it doesn't omit humidity. If it's ever above, it'll pull it down and it will actually pull into the pack, but then it only releases when you need it.
Okay.
So it can hit, if you're not opening it every day, it doesn't have to work very often. It just kind of hums along. They're great little packs. I mean, they're the smartest little things you can have. Jim, we can check them in your locker and trade them out. I think you'll be fine, although you haven't been in long enough. Just finished round 12. Surgery's next. Praying for you. Love you, buddy.
P&W Newman. We're in Frisco, Texas. Yes, we're relocated. Frisco, Texas, just north of Dallas. That's where we're at. So if you're ever coming to Dallas, make the drive out to Industrial Cigar. He said poor Gurkhas, that's what got him into cigars back in the 2000s.
Hey, that's all right.
Yeah, and that's fine. I mean, I started off Swisher Sweets.
Yeah. What was your first cigar?
Swisher Sweet.
Swisher Sweet?
The day I turned 18, that's the first thing I did when I turned 18.
I think mine was a black and mild.
I mean, same category.
Yeah, exactly right. And to each their own, to be honest. And look, at the end of the day, we'll dog on some brands just because they cut corners and they do whatever they do. But in all fairness, who gives a shit? You smoke whatever you like smoking, and if someone's actually going to bust you about it, aside from a light little jab here or there,
right, then
they shouldn't be. I don't know. They shouldn't be a part of the culture.
I'll tell you what. So I don't know if you like Gurkhas. I mean, that's perfectly fine. That's not my cigar of choice. But I actually had some people over at the house. This is maybe a couple years ago, and that was we were 10 deep in my patio.
So Gurkhas were tasting good.
Dude, no. I didn't know it was a Gurkha, but I smelled someone was smoking something, and I was like, it was a distinct smell, and not in a good way.
Yeah.
And you could tell it was tobacco, but I was like, God dang, that's such a intense smell. He put the cigar down, maybe got a drink, and I was like, that's a Gurkha. And I just, that threw me off. It was like, wow, okay, and maybe that's why I don't like them. I don't know.
I think it's just, look, it's a great, phenomenal marketing company that sells cigars. It's a great cigar company.
Yeah.
If I may, I just want to tell people here, Santa Claus isn't real was something that they do because they have a cigar. I just want to be real clear here. I mean, I respect any company that is in this game. It's not an easy game to be in. But there's a cigar that's $750. And it is infused with Louis XIII. What I know is what the infusion process is. And that infusion process is sold as they put it into a room, they put Louis XIII in a deatomizer, they shoot it in the room, they fluctuate the humidity to dry the leaves and open the leaves, and they put it on there and it soaks it in. It becomes part. What they really do is they have a glass tube, and they take a drop of Louis and they put it in the tube, then they put the cigar in there, then they put a drop of Louis in the foot, and then they cap it off, they put it in the glass tube, and they sell it for $750. Kudos to them. Truly. No respect lost here. But I'll tell you, it's for those who may have spent close to a G on a cigar.
Yeah.
That'd be a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, if they knew.
It's
But if you have that kind of money and for one cigar, I mean,
just buy a box of Atabase. There's no shortcuts taken.
gosh, yeah. But
Right.
but they can't say, oh, this is Louis the 13th infused. But yeah,
It's a good point.
is that a flex? I mean,
It's a flex.
Could
But
be.
it would be an ultimate flex to go drop some of the finest cigars being produced and just hand it to everybody in the room. And you'd still have about $200. Yo, dude, you can still take $200 and throw it at the waitress or whatever. I don't know. But Jim, gurkha is not a pickle. That is a good question. Evan, what's the best humidifier for your 40-ish count humidor? What I would do are 2 boveda packs. 72% boveda, and I think we sell them on industrialcigars.co. They're about this big. They have a little pillow to them. Mm-hmm. You take it out of the plastic, you set it, if you don't have a tray underneath, you just set one at the foot, one at the cap, let it sit there, and that's it.
does that make a difference? Or could you set it on top or under?
You probably could, and I don't know the science behind it, but what I don't want to do is I don't want to humidify an uncellophane cigar more on one side than the other. Yeah. I don't know if you subscribe to the same thought process.
I totally do. Yeah, so if I have a boveda pack and I will not put a uncellophaned cigar on top of it because I guess some of the humidors I have just have enough room for the cigar itself. So I'll have the packs either underneath or on top of the cigars, but they're only touching the ones that have cellophane.
I think it's the right thing
Yeah,
to do.
and to me it's just a thing of, maybe I don't want to get it over humidified.
Well, and if anyone has ever gone through a cigar that's canoeing, that runs on one side, it ruins the experience, although just slightly, but it does ruin the experience when you always have to be touching it up. And I got used to that being from where I'm from. Some of the lounges where we picked up our cigars, their humidification was not stellar.
Yeah.
So I got really used to just touching up a cigar thinking that's the way it was supposed to be.
Yep.
But little did I know that it just meant that those cigars were sitting open on one side for the longest time.
Yeah.
And they were underneath, they were not getting the same humidification.
Yeah, makes sense. So, we're getting a lot of questions on my channel about where the guns. So this is a Cigars 101. Some of the feedback that I got from my followers were, hey, tell us more about cigars so we can learn for the cigar newbies. Have a day where we can talk about strictly just cigars. Now tomorrow, I have another live show that we do with Vulcan Machine Works. That's Wednesday at 6 p.m. every Wednesday. That's mostly guns. We'll talk about guns there, a little bit about cigars. Maybe some product placement type stuff, but Jeremy from Vulcan Machine Works, give him a follow and make sure to reach us out or join our live shot tomorrow. We'll be at his shop and we'll talk about mostly guns and same format. Ask your questions and we'll answer them the best we can.
He's good people.
Yeah, he's great.
Vulcan, they know their shit.
Yeah, he's really blowing up. The guy does some awesome work. He does a lot of slide work. He's the premier guy for anything staccato. And if you know staccato, it's a great gun. And he'll do the mill work to add the RMRs on there or the SROs. He'll to the slide and
Nate just got one, right?
Oh yeah,
Nate just got a staccato.
Yeah, Nate has a staccato, and beautiful 2011.
It's badass. I love the frame.
Have you shot it?
No, I haven't shot it yet. I love the. They don't know it, but you know what their 30th birthday is.
Your dad talked to me about it.
Yeah, spending the day with crayons,
Oh.
doing tactical stuff on their.
Badass.
I might have to sneak in through the back and disguise myself as Drew to go shoot with them.
Or June 10th when we do our little private event.
Oh, that's right. We can't talk about that
Yeah.
now. We can't talk about that. Yeah, no, that's a blast.
So that one guy, Bert, we are smoking Atabase. I just did a video that I'll be posting up here pretty soon on the Divinos, but it's a wonderful brand. It's probably the most well constructed cigar that I've ever, in my 30 plus years of smoking cigars. If you really want something that's going to be a great smoke, and if you whether you've had a bad day or the most excellent day in your life, pick up an Atabey, and you'll just thank me.
You know what I've noticed? Because there was a new guy who came into the lounge who said, I just need a starter kit. I need a starter cigar, easy cutter, easy lighter. And so we got him all fitted in, and he was all ready to go. And he was out the door for inexpensive, $40. Okay. He had a couple cigars, cutter, lighter, and he was set. And he said, I just don't know if I want to flash. I don't know if I want to do this with all the big dog cigars and do this. And I said, what it really comes down to, and it didn't hit me until I was discussing it with him, is as you become more and more entrenched in the culture, you respect the highest producing producers and rollers so much that you want to celebrate what they've done.
Yeah.
You want to have, there is a difference if you light your cigar with a Bic, maybe not performance, but if you pick up something that has presentation, that has, some of these have red flames in them, all of these things, it changes your experience. Just like getting into a new car, you might not want to just pull up to the valet to show someone you have an Aston, but if you get into it, the fit and finish, the experience is better.
Yeah.
So you're really dedicating an hour of your life that you can't get back. How are you going to dedicate that hour?
That's a good way to put it. Yeah. Do you want to spend that hour of your solace with a mediocre cigar? Or do you want to spend that hour or two, sometimes even 3, with just an experience that you can remember for a long time to come?
Yeah, without a doubt. This is, so what we have is we have a lot of guys that are now getting into barrel aging their own cigars, and we've done this now a couple of times. I was actually getting the barrel and aging cigars in a barrel. I recommend anyone, if you can get your hands on maybe a small tabletop used, an actual barrel, do it and try it. Let it sit, go in there, give it 60 days, 90 days is best. But after that's done, Randy's actually saying that is, when you pull those cigars out of that barrel, don't put them with your other cigars until you're absolutely sure that you're okay with all of the cigars wearing that infusion or that barrel aged taste.
So, all right. So I have one of those little desktop barrels. Obviously, you take whatever juice was in there, take it out.
Take it out. Keep a little bit in there. Keep just a little bit in there. Maybe 4 pours worth.
And then
stack it vertically.
Okay.
And then what you can do, depending on the size there, is you can find, what we do is just take a couple little studs, just a couple little 1x1s, which come in a lot like the Atabey boxes.
Okay.
Put those at the bottom, and those will actually sit in the juice.
Okay.
And then you can either get like some really fine chicken wire, or we use pizza trays.
Okay.
Put that in on top of that wood and just lay all those things. Ideally, you want to lay foot down and create this pinwheel. That takes a lot of cigars to do. But if you stack them and just stack them up, keep them off the walls, give it 60, 90 days, and it's going to change.
So did he actually do that? Randy?
I don't know if Randy did it or if Randy's talking about the ones that we did ourselves.
Interesting. Yeah. I never thought about that, and I wonder how many cigars would fit in one of those little desktop barrels.
Well, in our barrels, we get about 1,200.
Well, yeah.
And that's this big.
That's a full-size barrel.
So, if you can get 30 in there.
So with that, I've seen the barrel. How much juice do you put in there? Like a whole bottle?
A full bottle.
Holy shit.
Yeah, full bottle.
And then...
So we can get you can get barrels 2 ways. You can get a dry barrel or a wet barrel.
Mm-hmm.
Wet barrel just basically means you've got juice in the bottom, enough for about a bottle. Those are ultimate. Okay. If not, what you can do is you can recharge them. It's the cheating way to do it. We haven't been faced with it yet, but the cheating way is just take half a bottle, put it in a clean...
Not that size bottle.
You would get all... Yeah, that would be a different experience. But then you can put it in there and just spray the edges before you get in there. It's that real gurkha style.
Okay. And for how long?
60 days is good. That's when you really start seeing the difference. 90 days is optimal.
Gotcha.
And that will
you've done
last-
this a few times where you know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And where we don't know from firsthand, we actually worked with Darren with Principal Cigars, who actually blended a cigar for Angel's Envy before it was bought out. And for those of you who got the Frankie Blue Eyes pack, that was blended for that exact purpose.
Okay, perfect.
Some tobaccos work better, but give it a shot, honestly.
Yeah, different. Yeah, Principal definitely is the way to go. If it's not infused, Principal cigar alone is worth it.
Oh,
yeah.
Principal.
That's another. There's so many brands that y'all carry here that are special occasion, everyday smokes. Yeah.
Principal's one of them. If you haven't smoked a Principal, you need to. Principal cigars, they're not in very many retailers in the States. They are available on industrialcigars.co. But if you go on there, if you smoke a Principal, I don't know how to explain it. I just try not to smoke it every day because they don't make very many of them.
That's the bad thing about it, for sure. Yeah.
It's a pain. It's like it's kind of like the Blantons to me. It's maybe not the greatest thing on the planet.
Okay.
But I would camp out somewhere to get a Coach Envelope. It's like Coach Envelope night flight comes out. I'll camp out. Like, sorry, sweetheart. You take care of the kids. I got business.
Yeah, and people do that for blands. They'll camp out, or for any drop that someone say whiskey
Without
does.
a doubt.
Any other questions? My battery died over here, so.
Oh no, we've just got some guys in here. We've got a little happy birthday coming in from fam. Well, yeah, that's about where I'm at.
Yeah. So, wrap it up?
Let's wrap this, man.
Yeah, every Tuesday, guys, please join us. Cigars 101. If you're on Facebook, go to Cigar Newbies. It's a private cigar group run by Industrial Cigars, experts in the field. Make sure to answer the questions that are on when you join the club. Answer the questions or you won't be invited or let in. But yeah, it's a safe place for cigar newbies and for the aficionados.
Yeah,
as well.
Great. There's just great information in there. So, yeah, Sean Rats, we will see you this weekend. Everyone, come into the shop, join us. We'd love to have you. This is we're open to everyone.
Yeah. Thanks for joining, and catch us tomorrow. Cigars and Guns will be at the Vulcan Machine Works with Jeremy, and we'll do our Lead and Leaf same live video. And again,